clients in the audience here today, and I just want to thank you to the room for being here because it feels really awesome to feel like held by people that know me. So I'm Sandra, and I want to talk to you today about unleashing your inner badass.
Yeah!
Those of you who know me know I'm slightly obsessed with this topic. Don't stop talking about it ever. Sorry, not sorry. But actually, before I do that, though, I want to kind of take the temperature of the room and just see, because I know that I'm not the only recovering people pleaser and such in here. So I'm actually going to have you guys raise your hand when I ask a question and just kind of look around to get a sense of the feel of this room. So raise your hand if you feel like you are not currently living up to your full, total, huge potential. So almost everyone. Raise your hand if you feel like you are holding back in some way, like you're not giving your full self, you're just holding back. Yeah, okay, like 97%. Raise your hand if one of the ways that you hold back is perfectionism. Yeah. That's pretty much any room of females. Men, I mean some too, but not as much as us. Raise your hand if one of the ways you hold back is people pleasing. This is like my specialty. I did a seminar on people pleasing right here. Procrastination. Fear, let's just lump all the fears together, but like fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of success, fear of who knows what, right? That's almost everybody also. And then maybe self-doubt, lack of confidence. Excellent. Okay, so you just affirmed that I actually have a job, which is great. I'm a life coach. I actually call myself a freedom coach, and the reason I call myself a freedom coach, which is kind of weird. I mean, it's a weird thing to say at a networking event. I'm like, I have a freedom. They're like, what? But what I mean by that is I help people break free of all that shit that we just talked about. So all this stuff, it's not so much the external things, but it's the ways that we hold ourselves back, which is so, unnecessary, and yet we all do it, and we do it a lot. And so part of my mission is like, even just in this room, if we could take all of us, and if each one of us could like turn up the dial 10%, 50%, let alone 80, what is just this room capable of? That's what I want to see. So my whole thing is unleashing your inner badass. It's unleashing your true self out into the world, and I think there are a lot of different ways to get there, and everyone's inner badass looks different, right? It's not all like motorcycles and tattoos, although motorcycles and tattoos are awesome. But it's like, what is your inner badass, and what does it look like when it's out, fully free out in the world? So I'm gonna give you just a couple of tips that I think are kind of applicable to everybody, no matter where you are. And these are good ones. I like to keep things really simple, because simple things, they're like stupid basics sometimes, but if you actually do them, then they will change your life. So tip number one, I just have two tips. Tip number one is to live your life from the inside out instead of from the outside in. Right? So most people, I believe, we live our lives from the outside in. We're listening to our peers, our colleagues, our parents, our communities, the media, whatever, society, who's telling us who to be, how to dress, whom to marry, what jobs to have, like how to act, all that crap. I say let's flip that paradigm on its head, start from the inside, and get in touch with who you are and what you actually want. Like what you actually desire, what you want your life to look like, what's meaningful to you, and then lead from there so that you're creating a reality that's actually aligned with an expression of who you are. Way different than being like reacting to your circumstances and just being basically a victim of your circumstances. So that's tip number one, inside out, not outside in. Tip number two is, anybody who's worked with me knows I'm obsessed with baby steps. And what I mean by that is basically like, we know we have to take action to move forward. So working on goals, moving forward, like we take action, we do the things, we make the calls, we move forward. But so many people I see get tripped up because they think they have to have it all figured out first. You're like, okay, so I'm gonna go from here to there, but I need to know exactly what the plan is. And like, I'm gonna sit at home for 10 years and think about it, and so that it's perfect, because I'm a perfectionist and I'm too scared that someone's gonna judge me if I fail. But it's almost done, I'm almost ready. And then they never do anything, right? So I'm like, yes, take action and take big, bold action if you can work up the courage to do it. But for most of us, I actually think it's way more effective to just chunk it down into tiny, like ridiculously small, absurdly tiny, bite-sized pieces. So just take baby steps, even if it's just writing down what are the first 5 baby steps, and then literally just focus on the first one. So tip number 1, inside out. Tip number 2, baby steps. And hopefully, if one of those resonates with you, I would say take it home and be like, Sandra told me to actually do this. And try to actually apply it in your life, because if you really implement one of those ideas, they're so simple, but if you do them, it can totally change your life. And for anybody who's like, I want to unleash my inner badass, for anybody who's really excited about 2018 and wants to up-level, wants to bust out of their cage, wants to stop holding back finally, wants to stop making excuses, come talk to me. I was going to say after class. Come talk to me after class. After school under the bleachers. Because I've got some things and programs and stuff. Thank you.